Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Allison LaForgia, managing editor of HousingWire's content studio. And today I am with the president of mortgage at Southern Bancorp, Jeremy Davis. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me today.
It is my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Allison.
So Jeremy, you just won a Vanguard Award. Congratulations. Talk to me about how you earned it.
Thank you so much for that. It means a great deal. And I have to tell you, for my team and I, we were just thrilled by that recognition. But I think that we earned it by making trust a system instead of a slogan. You know, we've built an internal culture to maximize our market outreach. It focuses on community institutions of trust, where business happens as a byproduct of relationships. Places like barbershops, pulpits, and corner stores. The results have been clear. Production growth, market segment growth in all of the areas that we're tracking. It really means a lot to us that internal culture pushes what we're trying to do externally. And that's why we call it from the barbershop to the browser.
So talk to me a little bit about the origin of the barbershop to the pulpit to the corner store. Let's start there.
Yeah, so the origins are quite personal, actually. So I come from a diverse family and a very low income community. In fact, I've shared before that I spent many years of my childhood in public housing. And so I have a personal connection to how a community having a hand up can make a real difference, not only for the community, but for the individuals in that community. And I love to share a story about my grandfather. My grandfather, Pa Bill, he used to take me to a barbershop with him all the time when he'd get his hair cut. But Pa Bill was bald. He had that side hair action happening.
Okay.
So we really should have been in that barbershop maybe 10 or 15 minutes, but we spent hours there on a regular basis. So I had the pleasure of just kind of seeing the community of the folks in that barbershop and how they helped each other and advised each other. And occasionally somebody would get vulnerable and talk about a real issue or problem. And I got to experience how the community around them responded with advice, sometimes direct help. And it really made, I think, a lasting impression for me. And so I still talk about it today.
Now, talk to me a little bit more about from the barbershop to the browser.
Yes.
And what that idea is.
Yes. So from the barbershop to the browser is really a philosophy of translating old school community outreach to a modern digital housing industry. It focuses on community institutions of trust where people are already going in real life. So it really is kind of a two-layer system with one promise at the root. First, we embed ourselves in those community institutions of trust, and we listen, which is the important part. We're listening first. And then we take what we learn and we create like short, plain language education sources, talking about topics, everything from abroad, rules of engagement for buying your first house, to how to know about your credit or down payment assistance, even how to shop for a mortgage loan. Part two is that we then translate that into digital content that educates, not sells. So that is from the barbershop to the browser.
So let's dig a little bit more into that community building aspect and how you manage to have that message and momentum without feeling salesy.
Without feeling salesy. That it's such a good question because it's so relevant. Every company has to pay attention to this, right? Don't be too salesy, don't become spam. So we focus really on two philosophies. One, personalization, and two, answers over ads.
Okay.
So after every community event that we do, we follow that up with digital content that addresses questions and concerns that we heard directly from the community. Because we feel like the larger digital audience really has some of the very same concerns that we hear in the community members. And we want those communities to understand that we hear them and that we actually are there for the long haul.
Now, this sounds absolutely fantastic for the community, but
Sure.
I'm going to put you on the spot here and talk to me a little bit how this translates to your actual team at Southern Bancorp.
Oh, yes.
And how do you get a loan officer, a loan processor, or a leader to care about this model?
That is definitely an on-the-spot question. Thank you so much, Allison. But I'll tell you, I think the buy-in comes because it works. So I believe that every member of your wolf pack, we call ourselves the wolf pack, every member of the pack should care about customer acquisition. And the benefit, for example, for a loan officer or a lender is that they get warm introductions and they have pipelines that are built from trusted partners. For processors, for example, they get cleaner submission files and borrowers who actually know the rules of engagement, the process that they're going to go through. And for leaders, it's probably the best result. It's so much less firefighting and a lot more time for coaching and development, which translates into growth.
So it sounds like you're really putting your team in the best position to have productive conversations while also serving your borrower. That's not an intersection that happens often.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that's one of the reasons that we call ourselves the Wolfpack. It's kind of who we are. We talk a lot about, we hunt together, we protect and promote each other, but also we understand that no one succeeds alone.
Okay.
So in our team, regardless of role, from entry level to C-suite, we all have our paws on the ground together. Pardon the pun.
I love it.
But that's especially visible in our leadership team. Our leaders come from all diverse backgrounds, generations. We all got here with different paths, but we all have one mission together today, and it is about connecting community to the business, expanding homeownership access.
Now, you know that I love this idea of serving the community, and we've spoken about this at length.
Yes.
But I have to ask you, from like a business case objective, does this model actually work?
Oh, so you mean can I bring receipts? Is that what you're asking?
Can you show me that it works?
I can. I get this question a lot, and it's one of my favorite questions because it allows me to brag on my wolf pack, if you will. But the receipts are the results. Outstanding production growth, double-digit growth in rural areas,
wow.
Over 40% growth in first-time home buyer business.
Wow.
But the receipt I have to brag on the most, the pride of the pack, if you will, is my team and the culture that we've built. Their dedication and drive to expand homeownership, it inspires me every day. And it's the reason we haven't lost a producing loan officer in over 2 years.
Wow.
It is the culture.
Culture is such a mission critical option that I think that gets overlooked a lot. So I'm going to toss this back to you, Jeremy, and I'm going to ask you to leave leaders who are listening to this conversation with something. What should they do next?
Thank you for that. That's a great great toss back. I coach leaders of all types from various business. And while the details can sometimes vary, the philosophies and the values do not change. So I believe you should start at places of real trust where people already live and listen first. And then after you've listened, teach with respect. I always coach people to intentionally build teams that resembles their market. Be authentic, never performative. Be transformational, not transactional. That's what our teams expect from us. That's what our communities need from us. That's culture building. I think it's the most important part of building a team. But that is, in fact, from the barbershop to the browser.
Jeremy, thank you so much for taking us from the barbershop to the browser and showing us how you can have a model that serves your community, builds positive culture, and grows and succeeds. I can't wait to see what you'll do next, and congratulations again on your Vanguard.
Thank you again. It was my pleasure to be here.